Hello everyone. Welcome to the Dark Spirit channel. Today we will talk about the history of the caliber. This video will be divided into several parts. Let's start with OBT, so write comments, put likes if you like it. Then we will shoot a more modern history of the caliber. In this video you will find out that Diamond had a grenade launcher. Albert wanted the first person, but lost, so the third person game, the recruit support could heal himself. PvE lasted 30 minutes and a lot of things. You will also find out that there were statistics or there was a minimap. I will show it all in this video. Prepare sandwiches and at least a liter of tea, because we are starting. Briefly about the times when the game was announced in 2016. Many believe that the announcement took place on the big stage in 2017, but in fact it was the presentation of 2016. On another small stage at WFest. There it was said that the development of the project will be handled by One Game Studios and the publication and operation of Wargaming Labs. By the way, according to rumors, the animations were not of the best quality since it was originally planned to make the game in the first person. As a result, these tests and player reviews showed that the people want a third person. I think players who did not play shooters, but played tanks, it was familiar and easier to play from a third person, so the statistics turned out that way, but the developers called another reason for bad animation, but later, but not only we lost the first person already in the early stages, we do not see a mini-map, but it was. These fragments of the video show that it was tested in early builds, but eventually removed. The minimap is round and rotates when moving. Do you want a minimap? Write in the comments whether it is needed now. The maps have also undergone major changes, and looking at them, I don't even know what I like about how it was originally or how it became after the game was released. Initially, the maps were very rich and filled with different details. But unfortunately after the release of the game, this has been removed now. The map that we have been seeing lately is very similar to these old options. Or maybe they just return everything as it was originally. Since we are talking about cards, here is one of the schemes of cards that never came out. Also a small video sequence. Here we see that the developers do not just make maps, but also take real-world places as a basis, as well as objects. The first unit presented was FSB 2004. They also sang the consequences of 2004, and after that they just sang. Perhaps there was an idea to divide the divisions into years, and in the end they could get the pennant of 2004 and 2018. These operatives constantly flashed in all the videos, by the way. At that time Almas had a grenade launcher, not with smoke grenades, but with combat ones. The old people will cry, but as for me now it would be superfluous. But the second suspicion presented was the Alpha Fighters of 2016, which were shown in May 2017. After them, in the same year, in November, they showed a blank for the Thunder of 2015. At that time, when pumping, the operative himself did not change, the level did not grow, the characteristics did not change. The improvement was only due to changes in equipment and weapons, which we received from the boxes after the fight. Please note that even then the equipment was divided by rarity. Items were taken out of the boxes. We see different equipment in white, green, blue, purple, and gold colors. Each item had its own level, according to which a certain number of modules are placed. In the future, this will be abandoned. But after 6 years, the old idea will be partially implemented, but without boxes and pumping, only the rarity of the item. Throughout the history of the caliber, this will happen more than once, but it is a well-forgotten old one. By the way, how should you return the character development? Operatives and pumping are good, but what do we know about the first options of the combat interface? They looked like this. It immediately smelled old, and as for me it was not so presentable, but perhaps for 2018 it was good. It looked good. At that time, as a tanker, I really liked it. Then, in 2017, they officially said that no global open ranking or global open statistics are planned. As for me, it was a big mistake that a young team made, at least in shooters, without a rating and statistics. This is part of the competitive element. They should then read a book by Jesse Sheila about game design. There would be fewer mistakes. But now they are already promising us statistics, though they promise 2 years. But if they promise, it means there will be one day. For the sake of truth, there were some statistics. But it looked raw, and it's a pity we don't understand why even this wasn't finalized. At least it could be left. This was all available only to super testers. It was not available to ordinary players. All we could do at that time was to watch the developers' video cuts, but already in December 2017, the first invitations to the alpha test were sent out. You know, I started looking for it, found in the mail. It turns out I've been in the game since 2019. And since August 2018, when the 5th alpha began, I was invited to this game, and at the end of the year I got to the super test. By the way, if any of you know what is on the map right here behind your back, put a like. A good Easter egg. Okay, we drove on. In 2017, the first WGFest was held, where the SSO squad was presented, as well as a list of future units in the game that are now partially implemented. And before we say goodbye to 2017, let's see what stamina was then. In the video we see her rapid recovery. As we remember, they often return what was. Maybe stamina will be returned. But do not forget that at that time there were no reserves for the restoration of stamina. This is how 2017 ended. Let's move on to 2018. The second stage of Alpha was held, in which the entire shooting was redone. Since, according to the players, they did not get much pleasure from it on the third Alpha in March, we were shown a redesigned interface that already had the beginnings of the current one. The third Alpha was the most negative for the developers, a barrage of criticism fell on them, but already the fourth Alpha fixed everything on the technical part. The game played with other colors. Then they reported that the first stage of creating artificial intelligence bots has been completed. I am glad that even now they continue to work on it and improve it. In May 18th, the developers announced that they had abandoned loot boxes with equipment at the request of the players themselves. And also the system of pumping the operative itself was changed. It became similar to the current one. And the more you play, the more you pump the operative. They also reported that the interface and animation have been redesigned. By the beginning of the 5th alpha at that time there was a negative about the animation. But as the developers reported, Up to this point, the speed of the operative was not known and it was too early to finish the animation. Accordingly, they did not decide on the speed. And after that, they began to refine it in July 2018, a redesigned interface was shown. It's game lobby. And it was reported that it is not accuracy and reaction that wins the game, but intelligence and tactics, so we added icons of the enemy's stroke. Even in the early stages of the game, I think, to be honest, this is because tankers are so accustomed to it and they simply won't be able to play in any other way. And as for me, this is a controversial decision. By the way, the Palm Tree Road does not look like itself and Tiger Escort missions were tested on it. It's a pity that it didn't work out. From August 9th at the 5th hour of the alpha stage, I started playing myself during the alpha. Players tested a new interface and a new pumping that was already more similar to the current version. And also there was a map of the shopping center. The lighting has changed, and the balance as well as the redesigned code.